Hello there, I'm Azaria Tagaya, and this is Nightline, news making the headlines. No need to re-examine other cases charged in court, says Tan Sri Idrus Harun. And a building where beam collapsed closed to public until further notice. Good morning. The Attorney General's Chamber's AGC on Wednesday affirmed that it has no reasonable grounds or justification to re-examine all cases that have been charged in court. Attorney General Tan Sri Idrus Harun said each decision for prosecution is made after a thorough examination and consideration of all available evidence presented by the law enforcement agencies and in accordance with the relevant laws. In a statement, the AGC said all decisions are made independently and professionally following established procedures when initiating charges against any individual and carrying out its functions to uphold justice. The statement was issued in response to Perikatan National Secretary General Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin's call for the AGC to re-examine all court charges against Bersatu and Perikatan National leaders. The call was made after the Kuala Lumpur High Court on Tuesday freed Bersatu President and Perikatan National Chairman Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin of 4 counts of abuse of power involving 232.5 million ringgit in connection with the Jana Wibawa project. Tan Sri Idrus said the High Court's decision in acquitting and discharging the former Prime Minister only involves 4 predicate charges under Section 23 of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act. He said the decision was made solely based on the scope of the application filed by the applicant. Tan Sri Idrus said the AGC views seriously statements that tend to undermine its credibility and urged all parties to exercise caution when making statements that suggest or imply that the AGC's integrity and independence have been compromised by political interference or undue influence. Police are expected to confiscate more assets related to the One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB case following the testimony by lawyer Jasmine Liu Aiswan, who is a former 1MDB General Counsel. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Razaruddin Hussein said the assets concerned would be forfeited to the government through a court process.
Kita masih lagi dalam siasatan, terutama daripada segi siasatan amlah. So masih lagi dalam siasatan dan kerjasama yang diberikan oleh Jasmine Low pun sangat baik. Dan mungkin ada rampasan-rampasan yang banyak nanti, insyaAllah.
Tan Sri Razaruddin said this after launching the PDRM Madani Ride and Ipoh Superbike Club ISBC in conjunction with the 216th Police Day and National Month at the Kuala Lumpur Police Training Centre. He pointed out that Liu is still in police custody at the Bukit Aman Commercial Crime Investigation Department for investigation involving money laundering. He added that Liu would be handed over to the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC after the police had completed their investigation. Liu, who is a former 1MDB Group Strategic Executive Director, is believed to have been part of fugitive businessman Joe Low's inner circle and possessed information regarding 1MDB. In other news, the Kuala Lumpur High Court was informed on Wednesday that it took 7 years for Bank Negara Malaysia to discover that millions belonging to One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB were being siphoned into a foreign entity owned by fugitive businessman Joe Low. Former Governor Tan Sri Zeti Akhtar Aziz said this when testifying as the star witness in Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak's corruption trial for misappropriating funds belonging to the Sovereign Wealth Fund. The 75-year-old banker informed the court, however, that the span of time was not unusual, as financial authorities take many years to detect the money trail and investigate such wrongdoings. The prosecution witness was answering a question from the former Prime Minister's lead counsel, Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi'i Abdullah, regarding B&M's discovery that $700 million from 1MDB was remitted into Good Star Limited, a company owned by Joe Low. The money was part of 1MDB's $1 billion remittance intended for the acquisition of 40% shares in the 1MDB Petro-Saudi joint venture in 2009. She said an investigation was initiated after 1MDB failed to furnish information to sufficiently explain the transaction. The 5-storey commercial building where a roof beam collapsed at Kuchai Entrepreneurs Park is closed to the public until further notice. Brickfield's Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Ami Hizam Abdul Shukur said the area has been declared off-limits to ensure public safety and prevent any potential risks associated with the compromised structure.
Jadi arahan sementara ini kami meminta supaya JMB ini melantik konsultan untuk mengkaji balik keselamatan bangunan ini atau sama ada selamat untuk didiami ataupun perlu pembaikan semula lah. ataupun langsung tidak selamat. Ini bergantung kepada kajian konsultan. Jadi buat sementara ini pihak polis bersama agensi penyelamat lain ni, kami akan tutup lokasi kejadian ini sementara sehingga laporan oleh pakar konsultan ini selesai.
According to Amir Hizam, the inspection of the collapsed building is being carried out by Kuala Lumpur City Hall, DBKL, and the Malaysian Institute of Public Works, IKRAM. Preliminary findings from the inspection have raised concerns, specifically focusing on the fourth floor of the building, which was deemed to pose a significant safety risk. Despite the closure, a provisional arrangement has been made for the owners residing on the first, second and third floors, as they have been granted access in stages to retrieve essential belongings. The financial impact of the incident remains uncertain, with estimates of losses still pending. The incident not only caused damage to the building, but also led to damage of several vehicles due to the collapse of concrete debris.
This week on Money Matters, we'll talk about the key elements of a successful economy, how to position itself as one of the 30 economic powerhouses by setting the right tone towards building a better Malaysia. Join us with Khazanah National's Managing Director, Dato' Amirul Faisal Wan Zahir, this Saturday, 5 p.m. on TV3 and live HD stream on Tonton.
The Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry, KPDN, is studying to create an Amanah Saham Rahmah initiative. The initiative is aimed at helping alleviate the cost of living burden for the hardcore poor and to ensure a steady source of income. Its Deputy Minister, Fuzia Saleh, said the initiative involves the government investing a certain amount of money towards selected companies. The dividends generated from these investments are then allocated to needy families, while the government retains ownership of the principal amount invested. The 10 Pulau Pinang Executive Council members who were sworn in at Dewan Sri Pinang on Wednesday morning have received blessings from the national leadership. Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow said the choice of the 10 EXCO members were approved by the respective parties in Pulau Pinang and at the national level. The 10 EXCO members, including 7 new faces, took their oath of office before Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Abdul Fuzi Abdul Razak. Of the 10, 7 were from DAP, 2 from PKR and 1 from Barisan Nasional. Newly elected Batu Maung Assemblyman Professor Dato' Dr. Muhammad Abdul Hamid of PKR was sworn in as the first Deputy Chief Minister, while fourth-term Dato' Keramat Assemblyman Jagdip Singh Dio of DAP was sworn in as the second Deputy Chief Minister. Asked on how the new EXCO members would handle the 11 opposition members in the State Legislative Assembly, Chow said although many are new faces, they have with them the necessary experience.
When we came in 2008, none of us have any experience in government, and at that time we also faced 10 UMNO opposition members, and we went through that challenge.
Meanwhile, the newly appointed Kelantan Menteri Besar, Datuk Muhammad Nasruddin Daud, has expressed commitment that the Kelantan government will take a mature approach to strengthen the relationship between the state government and the federal government. He said the lineup of the state executive councillors or EXCO members that have been approved and appointed by the Sultan of Kelantan is balanced and the best leadership lineup from various fields, including scholars, technocrats and professionals. He said this during his first press conference as the new Menteri Besar of Kelantan at Complex Kota Darul Naim. Earlier, Datuk Muhammad Nasruddin, who is also the Assemblyman for Meranti, put his thumb on the time recorder at his office at 8:30 a.m. to begin his first day as the Menteri Besar. The project on the construction of the Littoral Combat Ships LCS is expected to resume next month. Royal Malaysian Navy Chief Admiral Tan Sri Abdul Rahman Ayub said the construction will resume after the 6th supplemental agreement was signed at the 2023 Langkawi International Maritime and Aerospace Exhibition or LIMA 2023 in May.
Kapal pertama dijangka akan diserahkan kepada TLDM pada penghujung tahun 2026. Ya. 5 buah kapal LCS akan diserahkan kepada PLN secara berperingkat selepas itu. Ya. Yang pertama pada penghujung tahun 2026.
He was speaking during a media conference after the closing ceremony of the Air and Sea Exercise Series 14/23 at the Kota Kinabalu RMN base in Sepangar, Sabah. On the Littoral Mission Ship LMS project, Tan Sri Abdul Rahman said they were still identifying suitable builders to carry out the project based on the specifications stipulated by the Royal Malaysian Navy. Meanwhile, Chief of Air Force General Tan Sri Muhammad Asghar Khan Goriman Khan said the RMAF had signed a contract to purchase a new ATR-72 Maritime Patrol aircraft, which is expected to enter the RMAF inventory from 2026.
Seterusnya, TUDM juga telah menandatangani kontrak untuk pembelian fasa pertama 3 jenis UAS buatan Turki, Angkaf, yang akan digunakan untuk intelligence, surveillance dan reconnaissance.
The Japanese government and companies are following closely and with great interest the discussions on the Kuala Lumpur-Singapore High-Speed Rail HSR project. Its ambassador to Malaysia, Katsuhiko Takahashi, opined the Japanese would wait and see the development progress by the private companies before seeking to get involved.
We are watching how the private companies are going to propose for this plan, and then we're going to think what the Japanese companies and Japanese government can be involved. So we are expecting some developments come so that we can review our engagement.
Speaking on the sidelines of the 50th year of ASEAN-Japan Friendship and Cooperation Forum, he said the HSR project has been suspended previously. As such, a lot of discussions would take place between Singapore and Malaysia. He also wished everyone involved to ensure the project to be economically feasible for the benefit of the public. The rain has stopped and the flash floods in Section 13 in Shah Alam, Selangor have receded and all roads are now accessible. Shah Alam Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Muhammad Iqbal Ibrahim, however, said police would continue to monitor the areas to ensure safety and security of the public. Earlier, flash floods were reported at various locations in Section 13 Shah Alam following heavy downpour on Wednesday afternoon. Muhammad Iqbal said the incident was reported between 3:40 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. He said police received reports that flooding had occurred along Jalan Persiaran Sukan. The affected areas included the stadium roundabout heading towards the A Cappella building, Jalan Surau Munawwarah and the KGSAS traffic light. Netizens also took to social media to post pictures and videos of rising muddy waters in the area, with some cars nearly submerged in the floodwaters. After this breather, 2 suspected militants killed in Patani shootout. Stay tuned. Nightline. On to the foreign news now. Thailand's Constitutional Court on Wednesday rejected a request from the election-winning Move Forward Party MFP to review a parliamentary decision that blocked its prime ministerial candidate from being re-nominated. The court in its decision said it declined to accept the case as it was lodged by a group of more than 20 individuals that did not include the prime ministerial candidate himself. Previously, allies of the MFP had petitioned the court to decide on the legality of a July 19th decision by lawmakers to prevent the party's leader, Pita Limjaroenrat, Roenrat from being nominated for Premier for a second time after his failure at the first attempt. Parliament is expected to schedule a vote within days on the prime ministerial candidacy of businessman and political neophyte Sreta Tavisin of the second-place Pheu Thai Party. Indonesia's Upper House Speaker on Wednesday said it was important for the country to discuss the means to delay elections in times of crisis, such as natural disasters, wars or pandemics. The country currently has no framework to postpone an election, and some politicians have called for the constitution to be amended in future to allow a delay in an emergency situation. In an annual address ahead of Indonesia's Independence Day, Upper House Speaker Bambang Susatyo said the People's Consultative Assembly should be returned as the highest government body in the event of a delay. The idea of delaying national elections has been a thorny issue in Indonesia, where there has been on-off speculation that moves were afoot to try to postpone the polls to allow President Joko Widodo to stay in power beyond his second term ending next year. Jokowi, however, has repeatedly denied he wants to serve longer. Indonesia, the world's third-largest democracy, must hold national elections every 5 years, with the next vote scheduled for February 14th. 2 men believed to be militants have died on Wednesday in a shootout in Thailand after being spotted hiding out in a household in Nong Chik district. Cornered by a joint force of 50 military personnel, the suspects attempted to flee into a neighbouring rubber plantation. However, after 10 minutes of shooting, a body was found on the ground floor of the home. Another shooting took place 30 minutes later, where authorities then found a second body on the second floor. Preliminary investigations revealed that the 2 unidentified men had sought shelter at the house 2 days prior to the clash and had a record of 7 arrest warrants in Patani for being involved in other shooting and bombing cases. The world is facing an unprecedented water crisis driven by soaring demands and the accelerating climate crisis. According to research by World Resources Institute, a quarter of the world's population currently faces extremely high water stress each year, with an additional 1 billion people expected to be affected by 2050. Extremely high water stress means countries are using almost all the water they have, at least 80% of their renewable supply, threatening economic growth and food production. Increased water demand stems from a range of factors, including growing populations and the demands of industries such as agriculture, along with unsustainable water use policies and a lack of investment in infrastructure. By 2050, water demand around the world is projected to increase by a further 20 to 25%. Messi magic. sports, football and the US Leagues Cup. Lionel Messi continues his fine performance as he led Inter Miami to a 4-1 win over Philadelphia Union in their semi-final clash. Inter took the lead after just 3 minutes through Joseph Martinez's strike. Messi then doubled the lead in the 20th minute as he ripped a shot from 30 yards past 3 Philadelphia defenders that made fans who paid a record price for football tickets in the Philly area rejoice. The 7-time Ballon d'Or winner scored his 9th goal in 6 matches with his new team in front of a crowd that pushed 20,000 fans, with ticket prices soaring past $1,000 on the secondary market. Inter extended their advantage just before the break as Jordi Alba finished off a quick counter-attack. Alejandro Bedoya pulled one back for Philadelphia in the 73rd, just for David Ruiz to put the result beyond doubt with Inter's 4th 6 minutes from time for a 4-1 final score. Miami will play in the championship game Saturday against Nashville SC. Waiting for Inter Miami is Nashville SC. A goal each from Sam Surridge and Papa Picault gave the visitors a 2-0 win over Mexican side Monterrey in their last 4 tie. Surridge broke the deadlock for the hosts in the 67th minute before Picault smashed a shot into the roof of the goal in extra time to seal a 2-0 win. More to come. Father, 2 sons plead not guilty for murder of man found in sack. Don't go away.
Cerita Rama.
In Selangor, a father and his 2 sons were charged on Wednesday in the Petaling Jaya Sessions Court with the death of an Indian man whose lifeless body was discovered in a sack 2 weeks ago. 51-year-old Datuk V. Nantakumar, along with his sons, 24-year-old Miran Ram and 22-year-old Krithik Ram, entered not guilty pleas as the charges were read before Judge Faiz Ziauddin. The trio, along with another person who remains at large, were alleged to have intentionally inflicted bodily harm that led to the death of 41-year-old A. Vinayagamurthy. The incident is said to have occurred at a scrap metal site in Taman Bukit Serdang, Sri Kembangan on August 4th. The charges have been framed under the Penal Code for culpable homicide not amounting to murder. Conviction under these sections carries a maximum prison sentence of 30 years and a fine if convicted. The court then allowed bail for all the accused at 10,000 ringgit each with 1 shorty, in addition to the additional condition of submitting their passports to the court and reporting to the nearest police station every month. The court set September 19th for mention. In Johor, a single mother and her housemate, a Singaporean woman, were charged on 2 counts at the Johor Bahru Sessions Court on Wednesday for abusing and neglecting her child since last month. The duo pleaded not guilty after the charges were read to them before Judge Fatimah Zahari. For the first charge, both of them were accused of abusing the boy under their care until he sustained physical injuries, while the other charge was for neglecting the 7-year-old boy that was under their care. They were accused of committing the offence at a house in Pasir Gudang between July 1st and August 9th. The duo was charged under the Child Act, read together with the Penal Code, which carries a fine of up to 50,000 ringgit or maximum jail time of 20 years or both. The judge then allowed 15,000 ringgit bail with one shorty for the mother, while the housemate was allowed bail at 20,000 ringgit with a local shorty. The court then fixed September 27th for mention, pending a medical report of the victim from Hospital Sultan Ismail. A loud explosion was reported in front of a school in Padang Besar Perlis early Wednesday morning, believed to have originated from homemade explosive materials. Padang Besar District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Muhammad Shukri Abdullah said they received information about the blast at about 7:30 a.m. He said the call came from the school's security guard, who reported hearing a loud explosion outside the school's fence a few hours prior at around 4 a.m. The Criminal Investigation Division of the Padang Besar District Police Headquarters, along with the forensic team from the Perlis State Police Contingent Headquarters, was deployed to the scene. Based on preliminary investigation, authorities found that the explosion originated from a suspected homemade object. ACP Muhammad Shokri mentioned that the initial police investigation found that the explosive material was believed to be made from iron pipes. No injuries were reported in the incident and the investigation is still ongoing. The police have urged members of the public who may have witnessed the incident to come forward and provide information that could assist in the investigation. Palestinians of all ages have been enjoying a trip to the movies at a rare big screen event on the Gaza beachfront. Let's take a look at the open-air show as we wrap up Nightline this time around. I'm Azaria Tagaya. Thanks for watching and we'll catch you next time.